So just explain exactly what the data showed in terms of consumption habits for the likes of Facebook, but also some of the other big players here like Twitter, Snap as well.
Sure. Well, now it's not that surprising to point out that Facebook has lost usage, not least because Facebook itself described a 5% overall decline in usage among its user base, which is now, 15% or so higher than it was in the year ago period on a global basis. Of course, we don't know how many of those users are fake. We know something like 15% of them are in total, but we don't know what the growth of that is. What the data I'm showing is, and what I've seen for the last few months using data from Nielsen and their digital content ratings product, is that in the United States, among adults 18 plus, we're seeing decline in consumption in aggregate of around 4%. But with around 6% growth in users, which is slightly different than what Facebook is saying they're seeing. But this is based on a panel stratified against the whole population, so it's going to be slightly different than what Facebook is saying. But that equates to about a negative 11% decline in time per user during November. That's very similar to data that we saw for October, for September, and August. And then it raises the question, is Facebook making changes to its algorithm that have caused those declines? Or is it making changes to the algorithm because of those changes in consumption? In other words, is the data showing that people are in fact getting tired of Facebook, or that they're feeling it's toxic, or that they just hit peak Facebook?
So what's your theory? I mean, this is the key question, because if it's their own choice, and of course Mark Zuckerberg has talked about potential declines in engagement, then maybe it's fine. Is there anything in the data or in the competitor data that maybe gives some more insight into what's driving this?
Yeah, no. I mean, it's a merely subjective assessment of what's going on. Anecdotally, I think we all have heard from people who were just getting really tired of Facebook last year. All the noise around fake news, the feeling, just negative feelings around the product. Certainly, the Edelman Trust Barometer that came out earlier this year reinforced this point of view. So my guess is that people were reducing their consumption, and Facebook, in the comments that they made at the beginning of this year, was in response to that. And so they're very focused clearly on the long run in improving the platform.
So, Brian, I'm looking right now at Facebook shares, end of the day at $183.29. Is what we're talking about right now, declining user engagement, is that baked into this share price? Or according to your assessment, how much would it have to fall should this trend continue?
That's hard to say. Investors have completely looked past so many problems that are hitting the company. Facebook is in a substantially worse position now than it was 18 months ago. And there is no way that the stock should be worth more than it was at that point in time. There are other reasons, mostly because they've been performing in terms of their current revenue growth. And it is possible to generate revenue growth despite declining usage. See the whole television industry for quite a long time. And so as long as they have pricing power, which they do, as long as they have tactics to improve yield, which is to say prioritize the better spending advertiser at the expense of the worst spending advertiser, there are many tactics that they have to support revenue growth. And so it's not clear how much of a decline you could see before it would definitively impact revenue growth. I think the bigger issue is that to the extent that advertisers start to pay more attention to the metrics cited here, it could turn sentiment negatively towards them and possibly in favor of other digital publishers.